First up today, and all the way from the US, we have EV Resources, ASX code EVR, and they have a market cap of around 10 million. EV Resources projects are strategically diversified across electric vehicle and green energy technology metals. The company's primary focus is exploring for copper in the Americas. Presenting for the company today, we have EV Resources MD, Hugh Callaghan. Hugh, welcome, and please take it away.
Thanks, Paul. Thank you very much for having me. EV Resources is a copper exploration company focused on two large-scale projects in Peru. The picture we show you here is a panoramic view of our Parug project, which I'll cover shortly. I think Parug will be our flagship project, although we're shortly to drill Don Enrique, that we feel has got the potential to be a very major system. Could we move on to the next slide, please? Thank you. EVR currently has a market cap of roughly $10.5 million. We do have a number of non-core projects from our past that we are in the process of moving on. The company at present is has a share price of approximately 1.1 cents. It's trading pretty much to the low of its 52-week trading range. We're about to outlay to you today a number of the catalysts that we think are going to significantly re-rate this company. Next slide, please. Why are we in copper? The very simple answer is this. Copper is moving into a major deficit. That means that demand is not enough. Demand cannot be satisfied by supply. And this, we believe, is going to be a barrier to the achievement of the net zero aspiration. Very simply, if you look at this, this is just one graph of many that we've seen out there, done by S&P Global, that show that fundamentally supply cannot meet demand. And in fact, we think that the world is not so much short of lithium, rare earths, graphite, as actually short of copper. In short, it doesn't matter how much lithium you have, how much graphite. The reality is net zero will be delayed by the lack of copper. And in fact, at the moment, the copper industry has no apparent pipeline that can meet this demand. What is more is that we've seen that the grade of the projects out in the new stream of copper projects is extremely low. Most copper projects of any consequence are trending to grades of little more than 0.5% copper. And with that in mind, we have gone deliberately to Peru to look for two large-scale projects that we believe will go some way to contributing to meeting this deficit. Next slide, please. Why are we in Peru? Very simply, if you want to look for copper, you've really got to be, in our view, in Chile or Peru. We like Peru because the infrastructure is outstanding and because Peru is at present the #2 copper producer in the world behind Chile. But unlike Chile, it's got far more favorable tax and royalty regime. Little seems to be known really in Australia at the moment about Peru, but what we like about it is the economy is extremely strong. The debt to GDP ratio is forecasted a small amount under 34% this year. Inflation is at 4.3%. I think Australia would be very happy to have those metrics at the moment. I think that what we like most, though, is that we see excellent infrastructure in terms of power, water, roads, ports, other infrastructure, which we have not seen, for example, in Chile. I have considerable experience in Chile, both with majors and juniors. And what we've found in Peru is, by and large, an availability of ore bodies, the likes of which we have not seen anywhere in the world. Next slide, please. The two projects I'll outlay to you very briefly today are Don Enrique, which is a drill-ready copper-silver project. We're about to shortly start a 2,000-meter drill program, testing a major chargeability high anomaly that looks extremely substantial. We've sampled structures and found high-grade copper and silver intercepts, and we do believe that this drill program will help us delineate what we think is going to emerge as a major sulfide system. The Parug project, on the other hand, which we acquired a couple of months ago, is a copper molybdenum project that is rare for a junior. Very simply, Parug has well over 10,000 meters of diamond drilling that we have been able to report. We have the drill core, and the intercepts from surface are absolutely outstanding. I don't think there are any juniors of our market cap in the world that can boast a project with drill holes of over 300 meters of 2% copper, from surface. This is a remarkable project. We also have records of old drilling that is not able to be disclosed under JORC that was equally as good. We intend to spend the majority of 2024 drilling this project, and we believe we do have a project that is potentially a tier 1 project the majors will aspire to own on our hands. Next slide, please. Turning very briefly to Don Enrique, this slide shows you where the project's located 260 kilometers east of Lima, the capital. We have 50% of the project. We have a right to acquire the other 50% for $850,000 by May next year. What we like about this project is that we were able to permit the drilling very, very quickly. We have what we call a small miner's license. It enables us to drill as we choose. We can even take a bulk sample from the project under this license if we choose. The project's got substantial water and power, and in fact, you could ride in a sedan car up to the first drill hole, needing no further infrastructure. We have an excellent relationship with the local community. We've chosen our projects carefully in this company, that we believe that our communities own their land and that we in turn must fit in around our communities. That to us is the essence of the ESG phenomenon, is that we have to fit in with our environment. We cannot shape the environment to fit us. Our communities and ourselves have a very good relationship. We invest in agriculture, roads, infrastructure, and the support from the community has been nothing short of enthusiastic. Next slide, please. This slide I'm showing you shows us the structure that we like. This breccia structure showing the dark red stream in the photograph is a string of outcropping ore bodies, which we call breccias, in which we found good grades of copper and silver. We sampled underground in a crosscut, which for the layman is a tunnel that we sank into the side of a hill to take a better look at the ore. We certainly saw that there was good ore, but we felt we were on the edge of a system rather than within it. And when we did a substantial IP program, which we call induced polarization, this proved to be the case. If you look at the large pink structure, this is what we call a chargeability high. It measures not the grade, but it measures sulfides in the system. And sulfides, you hope, correlate to grade of ore in some shape or form. What we've shown is that we have just on our license a roughly 1,500 meter strike of very high tenor sulfides. Certainly that increase in depth as that dips away to the west. And as you can see, as the ore body moves to the northwest, you can see that the width of the ore body is still growing, and it's about 700 meters wide. If you think for yourself about a structure with a 1,500 meter strike, 700 meter width, a depth of at least 500 meters, this has the makings of a large system. We're about to drill 2,000 meters starting within the next couple of weeks into the system. This will be what we call diamond drilling, which is solid drill core, as opposed to the chip drilling or reverse circulation. We believe that these holes, which we show on this diagram, are going to delineate a sulfide ore body that we believe will be predominantly copper. The potential scale of this system is substantial. We are surrounded by large mining companies and who we're already talking to, and this has the makings to be an ore body of real substance. This chargeability anomaly is quite remarkable for its sheer scale and the continuity we see over the strike and width that we have. Next slide, please. Parag, on the other hand, is a more advanced project. We reached a deal earlier this year to acquire the project in a joint venture with the owner, who we've given a 30% carry to a bankable feasibility. The project is surrounded by larger companies. You can see in the yellow on this slide, you can see Newmont, which recently acquired Newcrest, the world's largest gold company. In the purple, Vale, major Brazilian company, and in the blue, Pan American Silver, which is a major North American silver lead zinc company that incidentally has an operating mine. The reason why this area has this focus of ownership is that it's a well-known cluster of copper porphyry ore bodies. Parag very much is at the epicenter of this, and the project has 76 diamond core drill holes in it, covering more than 18,000 meters of drilling. We have more than 10,000 meters of that drill core in the core shack, which we've studied carefully, and we've released the results. What I'm going to show you is a snapshot of some of the drill holes, and I'm sure you'll agree that not only are these drill holes exceptionally shallow, but the grade is quite remarkable. What we interpret this project to be is a series of high-grade outcropping and rather broad, what we call breccia ore bodies, overlying a deeper porphyry ore body. The potential scale of this project positions it as a project that could one day be a major mine of the type larger companies aspire to. We certainly have not seen a project of this caliber for a very long time. Next slide, please. When I explained to you there have been 76 drill holes, just very briefly, the drill holes we show labeled in white are the old drill holes, 56 shallow holes, densely drilled. We're not able to release the results under the JORC or ASX protocols, but we certainly have the results that help us with our future exploration. The holes in red are the holes that have been drilled that we have reported on. This major body of drilling has outlined what we think is going to be a major system one day. Next slide, please. Why do I get excited by this project? And this is the slide I rather like showing. If you look at the hole VIE01, there's 317 meter hit at 2.16% copper equivalent from surface. Just let that sink in for a moment. That is 317 meters from surface. You stand on the ore. VIE03, another hole, 89.4 meters at more than 4% copper equivalent from 6.5 meters depth. Remarkable hole. VIE18, 164 meters at 1.36% copper equivalent from surface, and so it goes. We have put on our website the full list of drilling in an earlier disclosure. These drill results are simply remarkable, and what really drives the value is the high molybdenum content of the ore. Molybdenum is a metal that is found coincident with copper in the Americas. It's used in steel alloying. There's been a market for hundreds of years, very easy to extract. Normally, molybdenum grades in ore are typically 0.01 to 0.03% molybdenum. These grades we have are running at anything up to 0.97%. These are remarkable figures, and quite simply, we have not seen a project of this type for a very long time. And the deal that we struck to acquire the 70% through an earn-in structure is a remarkable deal that has preserved us from having to give a large chunk of the company away up front. Next slide, please. To give you a feel for the scale of the project, the plan view we show here shows that so far our drilling has shown that we've got a 1,200 meter long zone of high-grade mineralization, at least 500 meters wide, which in itself is a remarkably large outcrop. And then if you look at the cross-section view, what we show is that the ore that we've drilled is typically between 100 and 300 meters deep from surface. This is quite remarkable when you consider that most copper ore bodies of any substance these days are running at barely 0.3, 0.4% copper equivalent. This is a remarkable occurrence. We think it could potentially be quite a lot bigger, and we'll explain why. Next slide, please. When we show on this slide here the Google Earth photograph, and I rather like this picture. This is taken from Google Earth early in the morning with satellite. The ore body that we show in red is where drilling has already taken place to develop that ore that we've shown you already. However, the orange pieces circled in white are areas where we've identified identical ore bodies or identical mineralization that has not been drilled to date. When you look at the distance this is away from the known ore, we have no idea whether there's continuity yet, but what we can tell you is there are numerous other targets that offer potential for a much larger ore body than we already have. We do have a substantial drill program planned in 2024. We think we're going to drill approximately 12,000 meters during the year, conduct more geophysics, a lot more sampling, a lot more mapping, and we think the system will only grow. Next slide, please. Simply, what we're offering investors today, or for 10 million Australian market cap, is a series of near-term catalysts. The first is the drill program will start in 2 weeks' time at Don Enrique, a 2,000-meter drill program. We have also applied for more ground to the northwest, where you've seen that major anomaly is broadening and widening as it leaves our license. We recently have been advised that the license is at a stage where it is shortly to be granted. No one else can secure it. That is going to give us a potentially major system. And already we've had neighbours come and approach us, asking us to talk about how we can cooperate. The Parag drilling that we plan for next year, approximately 12,000 meters, will be a major catalyst. You can see that we already know where we'll drill and why. This is not wildcat drilling. This will be drilling for resources. I think what's very important that we must notice that our community support's excellent, and it's only because we have a culture where we focus on communities as a part of our business. And then just very finally, we're already talking to all the landholders and tenement holders around us at both projects. With consolidation, we feel that we are going to form two projects that have tier 1 potential. The re-rating the stock could have is really quite remarkable, and that is why I've relocated to the Americas. I spend 50% of my time in Peru, the other 50% in the US. The whole team is based in Peru. We're a little unusual that way. We believe you can't manage projects in Latin America from Australia, but we come back from time to time when we have to. But very simply, what we're offering investors for the next year is a series of near-term catalysts. And the key is, without copper, there is no progress to net zero. I think that's about it from me, Paul. I'm more interested to hear questions from investors.
Thanks, Hugh. Very compelling presentation there. And I kind of scratched my head to look at your market cap and the potential you have, and how important, as you mentioned, that copper is to an EV battery and EV car. So great presentation. Obviously, lots going on now with the license to drill now received. How quickly can that drilling program at Don Enrique be completed?
Look, we'll get a drill rig onto Don Enrique by about the 10th, 12th of December. We think obviously there's a Christmas, New Year break, and like ourselves, they tend to knock off for that period. We think we'd have the program completed by early February. The turnaround time for core in the laboratory at the moment is about 4 weeks. So we think we'll start to see some results out by the end of February.
Oh, that's fantastic. That was my next question.
And then as for Parag, we'll mobilize on Parag by the end of January. And I personally, Paul, think we'll have a drill rig on the rest of the year. In fact, the instruction that we've given the drill company is get the rig up there and don't bring it down again.
Now, I don't know much about Peru other than Paddington Bear comes from there. How easy has it been to deal with the Peruvian government and the local community? And have there been any hurdles you've had to navigate?
Paul, we chose the projects very carefully. We didn't choose them only for their geology, but we chose them because we wanted projects that would not run into any problems now or in the future with communities. There are some well-documented cases of Peru and problems with communities, but that is where mines have quite simply had a view of entitlement with communities, where they've encroached on communities, on their water systems, on their agricultural land, and predictably got a response that if I was in the community's shoes, I'd feel the same way. So we've chosen our projects as much for the community issues as we have for the geology. And we're lucky. We regard communities as what we do. They're not just a compliance step. So we seem at the moment to manage that very well. I might add, we put a great deal of time into it. And, respect and sincerity go a long way. As far as the government goes, I wouldn't tell you that Peru is the quickest place in the world to get results, but then where is? I've worked in Australia in the recent years and not seen anything any quicker there either, I might tell you. So, look, we've found it a very pleasant place to do business. The key thing is the number of outstanding projects is just compelling. We already have, since we've started, half a dozen projects of equal caliber on our desk that, quite frankly, we don't know what to do with.
You, many thanks for your time, Dave. Really appreciate you coming in from the US.
Thank
You
you.
get off to your turkey and pumpkin pie. Have a great weekend, and we'd love to have you back in February when those results come through.
I look forward to telling you about them, Paul. Thank you.
Thanks.